Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here, and as you've already figured out from the title of this video and from what I'm holding here in my hands, I've went out and bought myself a Glock 44. Now for you guys that may not know what the Glock 44 is, there may be a few of you out there that don't know, it's the newest offering from Glock. It's a 22 long rifle chambered pistol, which is a first for them. Now there's been conversion kits and things like that on the market for a while, but this is the first from the factory dedicated 22 LR from Glock. So I bought this thing and I just bought it a few days ago, haven't fired it yet, but I debated on how to go about this video. If I wanted to shoot a few thousand rounds through it, then get on video with it and tell you guys what all my findings were, or if I wanted to just kind of take you guys along step by step as I evaluate this pistol. And I decided on the latter. I've got 10 different types of ammunition out here today that we're going to shoot some of, maybe a couple of magazines of each. Not really looking for what the gun likes so much as what it don't like. And from the reviews that I've seen on this pistol, there's a lot out there that it doesn't like. But I can't just take other people's words for it. I had to get one and try it myself. As most of you guys know, I am a 22 LR fan. I have the Taurus TX 22 and the Smith & Wesson full-size M&P 22, which are both this style of 22 pistol with the reciprocating slide. Now the Smith & Wesson M&P is a hammer-fired 22. The Glock and the Taurus are both striker-fired. And I'll definitely do a comparison between those two eventually. But first, I just want to shoot this pistol and see how it's going to work out. Again, see if it hates any of this ammo I've got here. And I chose this ammo just simply because it was the closest ammo to the front of my safe. I don't have an agenda here. I just grabbed a bunch of random stuff. I wanted to get at least 10 different types out. And we'll talk about each type as we load the magazines when I get into the shooting part here. And once I get into the shooting part, I'm not going to do any edits. I'm not going to cut the video. So it may be a little bit of a long video. This pistol does ship with 10 round magazines, which is kind of a bummer. But Glock said they did that for reliability purposes, or at least that's what I've been told that they said. I didn't hear them any official announcement as to why they only give us 10 round magazines. But I'm also hearing that 15 round magazines are in the works. So I do hope to get those when they come out. I feel like they should have worked that out before they even released the pistol. 10 round magazines, kind of a bummer. Both my Smith & Wesson M&P 22 and my Taurus TX 22 hold more than that. So I know Glock could have done it. So the Glock is a little different than the Taurus and the Smith & Wesson in that it has a steel lower slide. The slide's actually consists of a polymer upper and a steel lower. It's kind of like a steel sled it's riding on the rails. So Glock decided to go with steel instead of, in the Taurus and the Smith & Wesson's case, an aluminum slide. Some people are claiming cracks in the polymer on this slide after very few rounds. I've seen a video where a guy blew his extractor out. But here's the deal. Just like those other two pistols that I mentioned, if you do a search for problems with just about any handgun, you're going to find problems. People with problems make a lot more noise than people that don't have problems. So things tend to get blown up sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And it seems like that every gun on the market of that particular model is bad just because the folks that got a hold of a bad one are the folks making all the noise. That may happen to me here today. I don't know. I'm not going to make any excuses for it. I have no agenda. None of this stuff was supplied by anybody other than me and my Patreons. So, completely objective. I hope it does well. You know, it's more expensive. Again, I'm going to mention the Smith & Wesson and the Taurus. You guys will probably get tired of hearing me mention those two, but those are the two that I have to compare it with. And this is by far more expensive than either of those and really has less features. You have to buy the if you run a, say you want the threaded barrel, say you run a suppressor, you've got to buy, the way it stands right now today, you have to buy the barrel separate, the threaded barrel from Glock. I'm sure the aftermarket companies will pick up on that and start selling things, but as it stands right now, you have to pay, I think it's about $150 more on top of the pistol, which is running anywhere, I see it for like $359 up to $409. I paid $375 for this one, so the price kind of varies. They'll probably come down a little over time. Glocks don't usually come down too much, but over time it probably will settle in a little bit. But it is by far more expensive, especially if you want that threaded barrel option, than the Taurus or the Smith & Wesson. But I don't want to get into too much, since we're going to be shooting so much and I'm going to be loading those magazines, and I don't want to cut that part of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a target set up here, and we'll get to shooting. And then if there's something you guys want me to talk about in the next segment, leave me a comment below. I'll read all those comments. I can't get to every single one of them, but I really appreciate you guys leaving those. And I do read them all. Just because I don't reply to it, didn't have time to sit down and do a bunch of replies. When it pops up, I do read those comments. So if you'll give me suggestions, what you want to see about this pistol or know about it, I'll cover it in the next segment. This segment, I want to focus on shooting some different types of ammo through it. I've got some stuff from 32 grain up to 40 grain. Like I said, no agenda here. This is just what was sitting in the front row of my safe. I kind of rotate my ammo. Some of this stuff's kind of getting older. This Cci Standard Velocity I noticed is from Christmas 2016. So that's already getting some age on it. So I need to cycle through it and burn some of it up anyway. But let me go ahead and get a target set up, and then once I start this next segment, I'm not going to cut the camera. So I'll go ahead and do that. All right, got my eyes and ears on. I'm going to start out with some Remington Viper. This is some tricky stuff. It has that truncated cone style of bullet. Some semi-autos like it, some don't. We'll see if the Glock likes it. I've had pretty good luck with it in the Smith & Wesson and the Taurus, so we'll see if the Glock likes it. Now I know Glock has came out with a video on how to load these magazines, but I'm going to load them the way I load every other 22 magazine. I'm not going to look for a granite surface plate to set it on and make sure everything's perfect and all of that. I'm just going to load it the same way I would if I was doing a review on one of my other 22s. The magazine does have pull down tabs on both sides. So you can get them with one thumb, or you get it with a finger and a thumb. Does seem to be really easy to load. There's 10 in that one. I'll go ahead and get this one loaded up while I'm at it. This might be a long, boring video, guys. I'll tell you what I might do is that one kind of nosedived a little bit. I might just not cut the video, but here's a look at the loaded magazines. But speed the loading part of the video, kind of run those at maybe twice the normal speed or something, just to kind of help get through this, because this could take some time. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is a Glock 19 sized pistol. All the features are the same as a Glock 19 sized Glock. It fits my Glock 23 holster, which is a Glock 19 sized Glock. Ambidextrous slide stop. One here, and you can reverse the magazine release to the other side if you want to. So pretty ambidextrous pistol. But let's see the important part. Will it shoot? First magazine of the Remington Vipers went well. And the second magazine went well. Those are truncated cone 36 grain bullets. So let's move on to something else here. Set those over here out of the way. Let's do some stingers. Everybody knows what Cci Stingers are, right? High velocity, actually hyper velocity, 32 grain bullet. So I may speed this up, but I won't cut the video. Okay, what I am noticing is that the bullet tends to nosedive, kind of get caught, kind of nose down there a little bit. So just kind of smacking it, pulling down on the tabs a little and smacking it against my hand seems to correct it. But that's not exclusive to the Glock 22 long rifle magazines. I've noticed that in my others as well. So let's see if the Cci Stingers will run. Starting to notice a pattern there on my target. I'm shooting high. Okay, it didn't lock back, but let me show you why. I've got my thumb right on the slide release. That's a bad habit and that's my fault. It wasn't a malfunction. All right, so let's set that aside. Ran good with the stingers. Set that aside. Let's try these 2016 Cci Standard Velocities. Now, the standard velocities aren't as hot as the hyper velocity ammo on the previous two. So this is just a Cci Standard Velocity 40 grain bullet. No issues there. No issues there. So standard velocity. And guys, I know 2 magazines of each ammo is not going to tell us a whole lot, but if there's something here that the gun just really doesn't like, it'll probably show up fairly quick in the first couple of magazines. So move the standard velocity to the side. Let's try, what about, this is one of my favorites, the Agula 22 Super Extra. I shoot a lot of this stuff, and this is inexpensive bulk ammo. When I buy a 22 like this, that's mostly what I shoot, like that. And I've got some Blazer here, we'll try it too. That's the kind of stuff that I run. So I'm going to load these up. All right, Agula 40 grain Super Extra. If it's going to hate any of this ammunition, I hope it's not this one, because it's one of my favorites. It has such a unique smell to it, that Aguila stuff. Kind of smells like super glue. All right, ran great with the Aguila Super Extra. So now I'll move it to the side. What should we pop open next? Got some, what about these? Remington Thunderbolts. Some of the cheapest plinking ammo around. I like the stuff. A lot of people complain about it. I like it. Let's see if the Glock likes it. That's what we're trying to figure out today. And these are 40 grain, just lead round nose bullet. About as basic as you can get. And if we do get a dud, you know, that happens with some of this cheaper ammo. Any of the 22 rimfire actually. So just because if we were to get a single dud in some of this ammo today, that's not a reason to rule it out. It just means you need to try several more magazines and see how it's going to do. All right, Remington Thunderbolt. Didn't feed that one in. Straight off the magazine. See it kind of jammed up right there. So I'm going to clear that. Ten rounds. And 10 rounds. So it ran it fine. Had that little bobble right off the first round. I'm going to change the exposure on this camera. It looks like it's starting to get darker out here. Let's run that ISO up a little bit. How's that? That's a little brighter. All right, Thunderbolts went good, except for that round off the top. And that could have been where I just didn't flick it and get it pointed in the right direction. They are trying to nosedive a little bit, but like I said, that happens to me with my TX22 and my Smith & Wesson magazines as well. Not a deal breaker unless it just did it every time, then that would get kind of annoying. Federal Auto Match, 40 grain lead round nose. All right. Federal Auto Match. Federal Auto Match, worked good. Let's see, surely we can find something it hates here. Let's go for some Blazer. Blazer is also a 40 grain lead round nose. I shoot a lot of Blazer. Back in the summer and fall, we were going through a couple of bricks on the weekends. Haven't shot as much. The weather's been bad. It's, of course, winter time. The days are short. See, here's what I'm talking about the round kind of nose diving. See, it's going to drive straight into that little ramp on the front of magazine. But if you just give it a little, let some pressure off with those pull tabs, and just give it a little smack, it pops right up there. That's what you want to see. And I think that's what happened on that first round with the Thunderbolts. All right. Blazer. Blazer worked fine. I'm pulling those magazines out. They will shoot free. I'm just pulling them out to save time on this video and keep from having to pick them up every time if some of you guys are wondering about that. So we can set the Blazer to the side. Ah, the old Federal bulk pack. This stuff, I like it, but it will not run in my M&P 1522, that little 22 rifle that looks an awfully lot like an AR-15. It will not run this stuff for some reason. But I do like the ammunition. It's inexpensive, and that's when you buy a 22, that's the main thing you're after, I believe. So I'm going to load this up. These are 36 grain hollow points. Federal 36 grain hollow points. So, like those just fine, at least for a couple of magazines. Let's try Remington Golden Bullet. These are 40 grain, I believe. Yes, 40 grain copper washed bullets. If I can get them open. Let's see. Out there. Remington Golden Bullet, 40 grain. Shot those just fine. Move those to the side. I've got one more left. Winchester, 36 grain hollow points. Copper washed. Copper plated, it says. I call it copper washed. Winchester, 36 grain hollow point. All right, so there's what she looks like after 200 rounds. That's our first 200 rounds. And we didn't have any malfunctions as far as feeding. We had the one that I think was kind of nosedived in the magazine with the Remington Thunderbolt, but as far as light primer strikes, feeding from the magazine, no issues whatsoever so far. So really, I didn't rule out anything with any of this ammo. All 10 types of ammo that I tried here today look to be viable options for this little pistol. Of course, I'll have to do some accuracy testing. The thing about 22s, they're all finicky, and they're going to like one brand of ammo over the other. Take these earplugs out now and stop screaming at you. But they're going to like one brand of ammo over another. That's just the nature of them. So if you find, and I think a lot of these videos that we're seeing may be people finding a brand of ammo that this gun doesn't like, then doing a video with it, putting Glock fail in the title. That's going to get you some views. You've got motivation there to show a Glock not running. Not saying that anybody is actually doing that. I'm just saying there's motivation there in posting Glock fail videos. Also, some people don't like Glock. They have a bone to pick with Glock. You know, Glock is one of those companies that don't work well with a lot of YouTubers. A lot of companies will give you guns or they'll pay these people for reviews, and Glock doesn't tend to do that. They tend to stand on their own reputation, and that rubs some of these channels the wrong way. I'm just saying, would it be possible that maybe they want to show the Glock in a bad light? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide that. But what I'm seeing here today, and I promise you, that's the very first shots that I've shot out of this pistol. Let's grab this target. I do want to show you something. That's a 200 round group, and I was holding in the middle. So it is shooting high. I've heard other shooters complain about it shooting high. Now it does have adjustable sights on it, on the rear, but they are almost all the way down as it is out of the box. So adjusting those any lower, I don't even know if they'll go any lower. I'm going to try after this video to adjust those as low as possible. But it is shooting high. That would require a 6 o'clock hold if you were shooting a smaller target. This was a 10-inch piece of steel at about 9 yards, so I'm not going to miss that unless something was incredibly off. But as you can see, all 200 rounds hit a little high. So did want to address that. But I think, other than that, this has been a long video clip. I hope that camera, it appears to still be recording. I hope it's still recording. I've never ran my camera for that long. I usually just film a clip, film another clip, use a different camera, and then sew it all together. So I don't usually run one video camera this long. But I really wanted to do this and wanted to bring you guys along with me to get my first impressions and first shots right out of the box. I do want to mention, I did get it home and took it apart, cleaned it, pushed the packing stuff out of it, which it didn't have much. It was really clean, but I got some soot out of the barrel. I guess they test fired it or whatever, but cleaned it, lubricated it where it tells you in the owner's manual. It shows you the locations to lubricate it. I put a little lubrication on it. Probably didn't even need to do that, but I did. I wanted to give it every chance that I could to work, and I am very happy with the results I've gotten right here. Probably something else I wanted to mention, but I've rambled on so long and we've shot all this stuff. I'll try to cover anything that I forgot to cover in the next video. So that's all I've got. Appreciate all y'all watching. Special thanks to my Patreon members out there. Really appreciate you guys. I'll talk with y'all again soon. Dang it, I knew I would forget to mention something, but the main shooting is all done in one clip anyway. I did want to say that I bought this at Bud's, and they've got a feature. I usually don't buy online, I go to the in-store, but they've got a feature on their online shopping where you can pay $5 extra and choose your serial number with a lot of their guns. I never do that. I usually don't, I have no interest in caring what the serial number is. You guys already saw this serial number at the first of the video, but I went ahead and paid that $5 extra to get the absolute latest, newest serial number that they had in stock. Because if some of the early ones were having the issues that were being shown over and over on some of these channels, I wanted to get one that maybe they had kind of tweaked a little bit. Maybe they're going to get better as they come out. I don't know, but I did want to mention that I used that. I paid $5 extra just to get the latest serial number that they had.